Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Sorry, I forgot to open up the room there a little bit. Got a little bit sidetracked. Oh, here, let's get the screen share working. All right, you should be able to see my monitor now. Okay, so yesterday, the market chopping about a little bit, but here on the NASDAQ, things remaining bullish. You can see we stayed above 7,600 here on the NASDAQ, and now we're actually getting to the point where we're threatening the contract highs again, getting around that 7,700 zone. From here on out, we get really close to the contract highs that turned the market lower before. And again, this is the daily chart. The daily chart's not a bad. I take a look at it from time to time, kind of give you a broader view of what's going on, but it's looking as though things are getting really kind of congested. All right, let's put that away. Marcus sent me some interesting screenshots yesterday about the market, and he likes to watch the divergence and the Bollinger Band suite. I totally forgot about the divergence, and I do believe that you can actually turn divergence on here in the Bollinger suite. Let me see if I can find that. Ah, here we go. Divergence. Yes, enable. Why don't we? Why don't we enable the divergence? Divergence occurs when the indicator goes one way, but price goes the other. So you now have a discrepancy between what price is doing and what the indicator is doing. And you can see the divergence plotting here via this green line. I don't know how well you can see it down here on the indicator. Generally speaking, when that happens, the indicator wins. If there's a discrepancy between price and the indicator almost always wins. So we'll leave it here on the Raptor. You can certainly turn it on your other tools as well. I don't know how beneficial it would be on the Hawk because things happen so quickly on the Hawk. All right, we're getting a little bit of candy striping going on here in the Raptor now. Let's take a look at the overnight trading. Relatively quiet. I guess the FOMC minutes had a bit of a bullishness to the market yesterday. Little bit of a broader sideways trading range, if anything. Trade forecaster says we are in scalp mode for about another 13 minutes. After that, we're moving to swing mode. So what that suggests to me is that we've still got some volatility. We can still expect some bigger swings, but maybe things are going to settle down a little bit. So interestingly enough, we have another little divergence here on the Bollinger Suite as well as here on price in the Raptor. I suppose that's to be expected with a market that is in scalp mode. You have to excuse me, I'm trying to fight off a cold here. Well, the Raptor, a little bit bearish at this point. We did produce a hard edge bounce signal. That's the number 3 signal. The Falcon trying to produce a trend change signal. The Hawk also bearish, as is the Eagle. I wonder whether I want to try the trend change signal that's building here. We only have the warning dot at this point. We don't have the complete signal just yet. I could use, it's really quite removed from the signal. The signal produced way back here. This is really a pretty deep second push entry. Okay, they're now the follow-up signal. I probably got a Falcon signal. Oh no, not yet. It's coming though. All right, so let's take a look at the possible Falcon signal that's going to print. There it is. All right, so I'm just going to enter now with a market order on that signal to short. Still very early. Normally I don't like to do trades quite this early. But we'll see if we get any sort of follow through on this. If in fact the market is taking a bit of a bearish turn, as evidenced from all the tools really. Come on, give me one more bar and I can get my trade now to break even as I approach about 3/4 of the way to my profit objective. Oh, don't you dare get down there. I'm trying to be good. Ah, darn it. I was trying to be good and take profit on target, but they didn't give it to me. Rather tagged me on a little bit of a hiccup there. All right, we'll see whether that was a little bit too aggressive or whether this divergence now is going to influence. Divergence isn't always instant. Sometimes it takes a few bars to unfold. Yeah, James is calling for a bounce. entirely possible. Actually, probable, I would think. Because the market was bullish yesterday, remember? Okay, well, the trend line changing color here in the Falcon, that's the first cue that maybe the market is going to try to trade higher again. That might develop into a trend change signal. Back to the hard edge of the trading band here, both on the Eagle and the Raptor. So we usually anticipate some sort of reaction when we get up there. All right, a mild reaction so far. But what we're looking at here on the Raptor, well, we just produced a hard edge bounce signal. This may translate into a number 2 signal as well, a test of the extreme. Oh, wow. Okay, so much for that idea. Sellers are having none of that. Once again, the signal producing way up here. This a very, very delayed second push opportunity. I don't know. Do I want to try it that low? Scares me a little bit. We're on the primary support zone. All right, let's see if they're going to continue lower now. Uh-oh. Another little flash of divergence here. The market does have room to move, though. The big target on the way down from here would be, well, certainly 7610, but I'm thinking 7600. Yeah, sure enough, we do have another support zone near there, but just the fact of the matter that 7600 has been a fairly strong number for this market in the past. The better stop placement is probably above that swing high right here. Oh, and I forgot to check the clock. It's 1:45 the hour, my least favorite time of the day to trade. But we'll see. Maybe, just maybe, we can squeak out a little bit of profit here. Looking for a couple of bear bars now in my favor so that I can adjust my stops a little bit. I will give my stops the better exit right now, at least to start. What I'm looking for is I'm looking to avoid stopping out early. Momentum does seem to be waning though. You know, if you take a look at this move here, this move here, this move here, they're all about the same size, but the progress they're making is less. What I mean by that is, you know, the bearishness seems to be fading. And so far, I'm having a heck of a time getting two bear bars to form. All right, well, there we go. I can adjust my stops now a little bit. I don't want to make them overly tight. Not just yet. As we get closer, if we get closer to this swing low, I will start to roll my stops more aggressively in case the market bounces higher again. But right now, I'm doing my best to be patient with this trade. But things not looking all that promising. In fact, it's looking like I'm going to get tagged out here. We just produced a buy signal. The Bollinger Suite, very bullish. Once it becomes more bullish, that's also your cue to start rolling your stops. All right, I'm going to jam my stop now above this bar. That seems to have a little bit of a wick to it. Okay, taking the trade to break even now that we're challenging the lows. And I'll cover a little bit tighter above, again, the bar with the tiny wick. Oh, come on, you guys. You are so close to finding my profit target. Yay. Okay, cancel out the rest of that. All right, well, that took a little bit, but hooray for us. If there's something resembling a trend, you should always, always, always try to stay with trend as much as possible. Oh, I feel a little better about that one. Now, just a reminder, if you're trading with a trading quota and your quota is to find $100 trade or $100 in profit per day, you have just made your trading quota. And so here we are about a half an hour into the day, and your trading is essentially done. From here on out, the real money is made in adding to your position size, not in trying to find more trades. You'll always, always, always do better trying to find a high probability signal and then capitalizing on it to the best of your ability, to the most that your account will allow, without adversely risking too much. And again, that's why we have tools like the trade calculator, which end up capping our risk exposure. Okay, it looks like we're getting a little bit added support, maybe. Well, potentially a couple of bull bars. That's hardly too much support, but we'll see how it plays out. All right, as we wait, a reminder, tomorrow is Friday, and we're going to have another Rabbit Hole Friday session. We'll explore different trading tools, different indicators, really mess with your head. Well, we almost have a test of the extreme. The Bollinger Sweep getting a little bit bullish here. The Falcon actually looking the other way. We're getting a bit of a late filter entry signal here to short. So things a little bit more neutral, maybe. All right, if we come back here now with a buy signal on the Raptor, that will be our number 2 signal. I might be inclined to try to buy that and see if it won't go back to the hard edge. As I mentioned before, it does seem to me as though maybe the momentum is waning a little bit. There it is. All right, so I'm going to buy it up and see if we can't get a little bit of an uptick here now. This just a basic number 2 signal. After a prolonged trend, we've got a test of the extreme, and this is the first evidence that maybe the market is not heading lower any longer. Actually, the better entry would have been above this high right here, above that swing high. Perhaps I got in a little bit too early. Oops. Oh dear, now we're going to produce a hard edge bounce signal. The only good thing about ever trying a counter trend trade is that you know where to place your exit order. If it takes out the lows here, you're going to be on the wrong side of the market. Yeah, Steve makes an interesting point here. He says this is why we need to trade the micros for tough trades like counter trends. That's true. You know, the micros, you certainly have a lot less money in play. So we do need to see the market breach these highs right here around the 76.23 mark. That's also where the primary support is at. If we can get above there, there is a chance that we'll see a little bit of an uptick. Come on. Ooh, they're holding tight. There we go, another number 2 signal. Essentially a 232 signal, which is very often tends to be a little bit more reliable counter trend signal, but not yet. So the number 3 signal, which did not print right here, did not print because we must have been a tick or two shy of the hard edge. Yeah, like Steve says, 10 times less money on the micros. Have they launched the micros yet? I haven't been following it. Frank's asking about the micro. He says, good morning. What is the micro for the NASDAQ? I haven't even looked to see if it's active yet. Here, let's see. Let's go to the source. The CME group. Oh no, next month. Countdown. Come on. Doggone it. There you go. So anything you want to know, it's always a good idea to go to the source, the CME group. 24 days. So next month, the end of next month, they're going to be offering the micro E-mini futures on the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and the Dow Jones. Joel asked, Eric, is there a video that shows how to set up the Raptor for time-based trading? No, there isn't, Joel, but you know what? Once this trade closes out, we'll walk through a few versions. In the meantime, Joel, are you looking at the time-based Raptor just because you like time-based bars, or does your data feed not have tick data? Because I think there's an advantage to having the mean wrinkle bars, and I'll explain that here in a moment. Not catching a break here from the market. They're really starting to tick me off. Getting another hard edge bounce signal. We did wander just above 76.23, but barely. Oh, I see. Joel says, I don't trade futures, and the variation between stocks is so great when picking the tick size. Yes, okay, I get that. Here we go. Okay, so this is now a proper 232 signal. So we've got the counter trend signal, we have the with trend signal, and now we're coming back with another counter trend signal suggesting the with trend signal is going to fail, which is good for my long attempt. Ooh, I'm itching to roll my stops up, but I feel like I need to give the trade a little bit more wiggle room. Next hurdle, this high here at 76.24-ish. A little bit more bullish. Come on, keep pushing. I need Ray Burke in the room. Push! He used to crack me up when he did that. Oh my gosh, he'd make me laugh. All right. I will take this opportunity to take the trade to break even now. And I will need a little bit of luck here to keep from getting tagged as we get closer here to the hard edge. Ah, stinkers. Well, it was worth a try. All right. So Joel's asking on the Raptor, how do I go about selecting a time base? What you're normally after, Joel, and it's helpful if you have access to a chart like the Russell or the E-mini, no, sorry, not the E-mini, but the NASDAQ or the Dow or gold or crude or the 6E or practically any other market you can use as a bit of a template, because what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to normalize your chart, this being a normal chart where your bands have this kind of shape to them, where the signals have a reasonable amount of follow through to them. Okay, so let's take a look at using a time-based chart. So let's say, well, here, let's start with a 5-minute. Say we're going to put a 5-minute chart on here. It looks like I need to load a little bit more data. Okay, so right off, you should see that this is not all that similar to what we were just looking at. The biggest difference, I think, is not so much the look, but rather the lack of signals. We got a signal to short here. Yeah, it worked out. We got a signal to buy here. Yeah, it worked out. But there, it looks like we're only getting number 1 signals. Oh, sorry, I stand corrected. There is actually a number 3 signal. So what this tells me is that I need to make some adjustments to my chart. Now, what I'll do is I'll compare, let's say I'll compare a 5-minute. It may just be that I need to go to a different time frame. So let me check a 3-minute. Oh, all right. This is starting to look a little bit more normal, and I'm using air quotes when I say normal, where the bands look a little bit more like they do on the tick-based chart. We're getting a few more signals. The follow-through on the signals is good. I'm not so concerned about the counter trend signals because, as a rule of thumb, you're probably going to do better avoiding counter trend trades entirely. So I will focus more on the with trend signals and just see if I'm getting any kind of follow through on those. And let's get out of the overnight. Let's get back to the native session here for in this case, the NASDAQ. So we had a number 1 signal here, decent follow through, and number 3 signal. Okay, you took a little bit of heat, didn't really follow through on that. All right, that's okay, it happens. A number 1 signal to short here. You got a little bit of a move lower. Number 1 signal to buy here going into the close. Let's see, how were we off the open? Yeah, yesterday was kind of choppy off the open, so no real signals printing there. Oh, sorry, we did get one right here. And that had some decent follow through to it. Okay, so maybe the 3-minute might be the way to go, at least as far as the NASDAQ is concerned. So all I'm doing is I'm looking to see how the bands are forming. I'm looking to see, am I producing signals? And if I'm producing signals, is there some follow through on the signal? And it looks like, oops, it looks like I just messed something up. It looks like the 3-minute chart might be the way to go. After this, let's see if we can do a little experimentation. Let's say you really have your heart set on trading a 5-minute chart. Okay, well, as we've seen, there's not enough signals going on here. Let's see what happens when we play with the settings a little bit. Now, I haven't done this, so this is going to be a little bit of an education for me as well. Usually I just go straight into the like a 1 minute or 3 minute chart. Okay, so the first thing I tend to do is I tend to go from the default settings into something a little bit more extreme. For the E-mini S&P, for instance, we have the faster Raptor settings of 446. What that means is we're going to run a 4-tick brick. So I'm going to change the bricks to 4. The fast cloud will also be 4 ticks, and the slow cloud will be 6 ticks. So what I'm doing is I'm essentially halving the initial values. And let's see what that does to the chart. I'm trying to determine whether making the clouds a shorter duration spreads things out to make it more normal, or whether I need to be going the opposite way and expanding the clouds. Okay, that did not do a whole lot. Why is that? Do I have 2 Raptors on here? I do too, look at that. Okay, let's get rid of the 1. Okay, the 6, the 4, and the 4. So all I'm doing is here the cloud setup, the brick size, and it will change to whatever your data is. So I've changed it from 10 and 12 to 6 and 6. Here the brick size I changed to 4 and 4 from 6 and 8. And here the brick size I changed to 4 and 4. And again, all I'm trying to do is determine how is that changing the chart. Okay, now it looks like it actually, I don't know, did that narrow things up a little bit? Did that make that band even thinner? Well, there's only one way to tell. Let's go the other way. Let's make all the values bigger. So let's go 20 and 20. Let's go 10 and 10. And with the faster cloud, let's go 10 and 10 and see what that does. Aha, okay. All right, that's starting to look a little bit more normal. And again, I'm using air quotes when I say that. So it looks like if you're going to select a time setting higher than a 3 minute, you're going to need to increase your band sizes, your band size and the way your bars are calculating. If you're only following a handful of markets, it's easy to custom, well, not easy, but it's worthwhile to customize the signal for the market you're following. So here, for instance, maybe I will play now with the hawk brick size and see what that does. So I see what it looks like at 10 and 10. Let's cut that in half. Let's go 5 and 5 and see what that does for the signals. Okay, not bad. We've introduced a couple signals that weren't there before. That one's still printing there. This one's still printing here. That number 3 signal's still there. But that's the process. I see. Joel's watching the ETFs, the Qs, the Spider, and the IWM. Well, you know, Joel, the easy solution is You can get tick data on those, I believe. So if you can get the tick data, that's the easiest solution. But if you're following those, I would suggest the 3-minute chart with the default settings to start. And after that, like I said, you can experiment a little bit. So go into your settings, and then play with your cloud sizes and your brick size. And the easiest way to do it is to go to extremes. So instead of 20, let's dial it up now to 50. And I'll do just the one and see what that does. How does that make the chart look? Okay, well, not very good. So let's dial up the other one. Let's make it 25. Let's make the fast cloud 25, the slow cloud 50. And once again, all I'm really looking for is to make the chart look normal, make sure the signals are printing, make sure I'm getting some follow through on the signals. The chart looks better here, but to me, the clouds are very broad right here, a little bit too wide. Oh, although yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of homework to play with it. But so far, the one I like the best is the defaults. So we'll just throw a raptor on there and we'll delete this one. So the default raptor on a 3-minute chart. I think Jim, who was in the trading room, well, he hasn't been in the room for a couple of months now, but he was always trading a 3-minute chart. He liked a 3-minute chart on his raptor. Joel asks, are there other parameters or other components of the Raptor that need changing? No, those are the only three, well, the four. So you have your data series, whatever your bar size will be. And then you can adjust your clouds, your fast cloud and your slow cloud. We use those for direction as well as signal generation. And then the hawk bars. So the hawk bars, when you make them larger or smaller, you're going to make them more sensitive to price changes, to price swings. So the smaller the hawk bar value, the more price swings you will introduce. The larger the value, the more they will paint in a single direction. But honestly, if you're going with a time-based chart and you don't want to pay extra for the tick data, it's looking like a 3-minute chart may be the way to go. I was always a fan of time-based charts. And then Adam had me working with the mean Renkos, and there was a little bit of an adjustment period, I have to say, because you just get so used to time-based charts. But I think there are advantages to a range style bar. Chiefly, you see more clearly when support is forming. You know, on the time-based chart, we did not have this kind of base forming. Okay, Joel says, I'm pretty sure I get tick data from Kinetic. Yeah, Kinetic, they do provide tick. All right, gang. I hate to cut the room short. I do have a meeting I need to get to this morning. So we're going to wind things down here a little bit. It does look to me as though we are forming a bit of a base. We definitely have had a test of the extreme. We've broken a swing high. That's significant. Because when we break a swing high, we usually see two moves in the direction of the breakout. So now that we've seen, or maybe seeing move number one, we can wait for a little bit of a pullback. And once we have the pullback here on the Eagle, ideally 2 bars to reverse, then we can throw our buy order in. And if the breakout continues, well, then we'll be on that second leg. Okay, well, just one counter bar. We don't have the second one yet. You will do better waiting for the second one, I believe. All right, gang. Things are slowing a little. Do be careful. It looks like we're going to get that second bar forming now, so you could park a buy order above here and see whether we get that second move higher. Of course, if the market starts to break down again, there's a good chance it will challenge the lows, in which case you could look to short. But it's a bit of a toss-up. We had a bearish move out of the open, but overall the market's still trending higher. All right, hate to trade and run, but I do need to get going. I will see you again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.